In case you've missed the memo on this one, the tech bros have spoken and we're living in a computer simulation. Sorry, the claim that our entire reality is a simulation was once reserved for late-night discussions at sleepovers where you got high and watched The Matrix. Now, that claim, known as simulation theory, is somehow gaining mainstream traction, largely thanks to the frenzied ravings of Silicon Valley tech elites. Tech billionaire Elon Musk is fully convinced of it.
The odds that we're in base reality is 1 in billions.
Science communicator Neil deGrasse Tyson has entertained the idea.
I wish I had a good argument against that, and I do not.
And this same spicy hot take has been published in countless op-eds and think pieces over the past few years, with at least 7 articles about it in the New York Times alone. Apparently, I'm supposed to be taking this shit seriously now. I don't wanna, but people are taking it seriously, from Reddit nerds to TikTok influencers promoting skincare products.
I know we might be living in a simulation. I know time isn't real. I didn't know the Sinbad Genie movie existed.
A documentary from last year, A Glitch in the Matrix, explores simulation theory through interviews with one academic philosopher and a bunch of gamers who love Elon Musk. It's mostly the gamers. They're all CGI'd with weird animated avatars as they speculate wildly about the nature of reality. Maybe only a small percentage of the population is actually conscious and the rest are NPCs, non-player characters.
The reason everyone loves to be like, oh, small world, is because it is actually, there just isn't enough processing power to render 7 billion consciousnesses. There are not 7 billion consciousnesses.
Maybe some people from outside the simulation enter the simulation with an avatar.
It really kind of crystallized for me when I started observing the experience of the villager in Minecraft.
Like maybe Elon Musk does that.
It'd be hilarious if Elon Musk was a player character.
Maybe Elon Musk created the simulation.
He just comes into the game and like, hey, you guys know, we're simulated.
Maybe Elon Musk is running the universe.
He gets to laugh with his weird extra-dimensional friends that, hey, I was just playing around with that simulation again today.
We've reinvented religion, and Elon is our god now. I'm not gonna spend much time in this video speculating on whether or not reality is real. Instead, I mostly want to use simulation theory to explore a different but related question. What the fuck is wrong with everyone? Have you all just lost your fucking mind? Be warned, the ideas I'll be sharing with you in this video are incredibly dangerous. By watching, you're putting yourself at serious risk of having your mind blown. That's because leading physicists like Elon Musk and a teen I saw on TikTok are currently studying the possibility that we're living in a video game. And they're about ready to conclude, yes. That means your brain is made of code, just like the codes used by the Zodiac Killer in the 1960s, which means the key to solving the murders lies within each and every one of you. Look within yourself, and you never know what you might find. If this video wakes you up to the truth of your reality, I've got a ton more mind-shattering info to share with you, so keep watching. Please keep watching. If you stop watching, I cease to exist. Okay, so why are we in a simulation, exactly? Whenever some op-ed writer introduces simulation theory, they're always like, this kind of skepticism towards our fundamental perceptions of reality draws on a philosophical tradition going all the way back to at least the ancient Greeks, with Plato's allegory of the cave. Do you really believe that ancient Greece existed? You fucking sheeple. The world was created in 1999, anything before that's just built into the programming. The most widely cited argument for simulation theory comes from Oxford philosopher Nick Bostrom, one of the few people in the simulation theory documentary to appear with a normal human face, in his 2003 paper, Are We Living in a Computer Simulation? Basically, Bostrom is like, Imagine that someday in the future, humanity reaches a point at which we're able to create simulated realities as believable as our own with simulated consciousnesses within them. Just assume that's gonna happen, okay? No big deal. If we reach that stage, computing power will be advanced enough that we'd probably be able to make a shit ton of those simulations. So, say we do that. People just start making simulations left and right. Scientists make fucked up simulations to test what happens if you get rid of gravity. EA releases Sim 17 with actual conscious sim people. Schools go full Miss Frizzle, bringing their students into simulated pasts to learn about history. HBO opens the first official Westworld. Teenage incels make simulations to date hot girls. Elon Musk makes a simulation where he dates Grimes. And surely we're not the only advanced civilization in the universe. Aliens are out there making simulations too, and the most sophisticated simulated worlds are making their own simulations, so there are probably billions or trillions of simulated realities out there, and since there's only one base reality, that means that the vast majority of conscious beings to have ever existed will be within computer simulations, which means we're probably in a simulation already, right? Okay, so Bostrom's not actually 100% on us being simulated. He thinks there are basically three options here. Option 1, humanity will never reach the point of creating these simulations, either because we'll go extinct before then or because it's just not possible. Option 2, humanity can create advanced simulations but chooses not to make very many, maybe because of ethical concerns or because it's too expensive. Or option 3, humanity can and will create simulations, in which case, yeah, we're almost certainly in one. Lots of people think it's probably option 1, that it's just not possible. Like, you would need to generate consciousness, which is sort of a whole thing. And most physicists who have reacted to the theory say we don't actually have any evidence that a computer could even be used to produce the natural laws of the universe, like relativity and stuff. But what do a bunch of physicists know? Relativity's just a theory. Let's hear what Elon Musk has to say.
There's a 1 in billions chance that this is base reality. Is there a flaw in that argument?
I mean, someone.
I'm not sure what the error is.
Prove him wrong, I bet you can't. While simulation theory has been around a long time as a fun thought experiment, Elon's promotion of the idea has helped popularize it in recent years. Elon says that recent advances in technology show that humanity is well on the way to being able to create advanced simulations. Like, he talks about the progression of video games.
40 years ago, we had Pong, like 2 rectangles and a dot.
Pong wasn't realistic at all. You want me to believe that this is ping pong? I've played real ping pong and that's not what it looks like. Pathetic.
40 years later, we have photorealistic 3D simulations with millions of people playing simultaneously, and it's getting better every year. If you assume any rate of improvement at all, then the games will become indistinguishable from reality.
If we can make Red Dead Redemption 2 or whatever, surely we'll eventually be able to make full universes with artificial consciousness. I guess. Seems like a big leap to me personally, but anything is possible with technology. I've got post-human singularity on my 21st century vision board. Elon's focus on recent video games is revealing in showing that simulation theory in many ways relies on how we experience our contemporary moment. The theory doesn't just appeal to people because of its incredibly sound logic. It appeals to people because it resonates with how they see the world that we're currently living in. It feels true because shit's fucking weird right now. Obviously, most people don't believe we're in a simulation, but references to the idea have caught on pretty widely. Anything slightly out of the ordinary happens, and people on Twitter are like, the simulation is glitching. A brand is making a gimmicky product? The simulation is glitching. A celebrity created a public spectacle? The simulation is glitching. We've got a pandemic, the global decline of democracy, the increasingly visible impacts of climate change, the spread of conspiracy theories about Satan worshiping cannibals. The simulation is broken. There's no way this shit is real. Our creators have been playing this game of Sims for years, and now they're upping the absurdity to keep it fun.
Why else can you explain where things are going along just fine in the world, then all of a sudden, there's a complete disruption, culturally, politically, economically, a complete disruption. I think they throw it in for entertainment.
World War II? The simulation is glitching. European colonization of the Americas? Simulation glitching. The discovery of fire? Glitching so hard right now. I personally do not think that history occurring means that reality is fake, but I can understand how this basic sense of the world as unreal resonates currently. We're in a time of increased social isolation, amplified by the pandemic, in which people feel detached from the world around them. Large parts of our daily lives are being mediated through screens. On social media or in Zoom meetings, we spend more time than ever before immersed in digital representations of the world. Look, I can come up with like 10 more reasons right off the bat that people might feel like we're in a simulation. Pick and choose the ones you like. People feel we're in a simulation because the illusion that history ended with the ascent of liberal democracy is visibly crumbling. They feel we're in a simulation because our lives are increasingly gamified with Fitbits and Duolingo and badges or whatever. They feel we're in a simulation because it provides an alternative kind of mysticism following the decline of religion in most Western nations. They feel we're in a simulation because our world has been crafted by neoliberal elites since the days of Reagan and Thatcher. They feel we're in a simulation because the shift towards the gig economy alienates workers by preventing them from forming social relationships. They feel like we're in a simulation because of the alienation of labor inherent to capitalism. They feel we're in a simulation because vast domains of life have been transformed into commodities and branding. They feel like we're in a simulation because in less than a month, J.K. Rowling got into Twitter drama with both Vosh and Vladimir Putin. They feel we're in a simulation because profit-motivated social media algorithms are working to capture as much of our attention as possible. People feel that we're in a simulation because we're in a time of increased alienation and social isolation in which we're experiencing cultural, political, and economic turmoil, largely through the detached, hyper-mediated information streams of our smartphones. Let's look at Elon Musk's tweets. There's nothing more important than Elon's tweets. When you realize Elon Musk's birthday is 69 days after 420. Hope you're enjoying the simulation. Do I need to do like a proper video essay introduction to Elon Musk? You know who Elon Musk is. He was the Times 2021 Person of the Year, the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX, the richest person alive with enough wealth to buy every person on our simulated planet a cheesy bean and rice burrito from Taco Bell every day for a month, and still have a few billion left over. Elon is known for his big sci-fi dreams of colonizing Mars, merging our minds with intelligent machines, and digging useless holes.
Hole in the ground is better than no hole in the ground.
He is a powerful person with an outsized influence in shaping our society. But what I really care about are his tweets. I put the art in fart. Elon is a prolific tweeter. His specialties include edgy posting about current events. I hereby challenge Vladimir Putin to single combat. Stakes are Ukraine. And tweets that sound like AI-generated poster slogans. Reasons to hate are remembered better than reasons to love. The main tweet I want to focus on today somehow manages to combine those two genres. In the wake of the January 6th attack on the US Capitol building, Elon tweeted, "The most entertaining outcome is the most likely." Posted at 4:23 a.m. Texas time, way past his bedtime. Go to bed, Elon. You can get canceled in the morning. At one level, the tweet has the same energy as all of the simulation glitching tweets. He was responding to the absurd spectacle of current events. This wasn't just a middle-of-the-night tweet, though. Elon has expressed this idea that the most entertaining outcome is most likely to happen repeatedly. It's a variant of Occam's razor, often summarized as the principle that the simplest explanation for something is usually the best one. Elon's friend Jonathan Nolan, creator of Westworld, modified this to the most ironic outcome is usually most likely. But according to Elon, it's in fact the most entertaining outcome that's most likely. Let's call this Elon's razor. On Twitter, he elaborated that the most likely outcomes in order are number 1, most entertaining, number 2, most ironic, number 3, simplest. Elon usually invokes Elon's razor in situations where he seems to mostly just be joking around. Like he says he's probably gonna die on Mars because that would be entertaining and ironic.
And if I do die on Mars, I just don't want it to be on impact.
Or Dogecoin is a parody cryptocurrency that was created to make fun of the absurdity of cryptocurrency. But in a chat on Clubhouse, Elon pulled out his razor.
Arguably, the most entertaining outcome and the most ironic outcome
would be that Dogecoin becomes the currency of Earth in the future.
And then Elon stans got so excited that the price of Dogecoin skyrocketed. So I initially understood Elon's razor as just Elon saying Elon things, you know? I thought he was BSing. It doesn't exactly sound like the well-reasoned conclusion of a rational man of science, right? It's more along the lines of concepts like fate or karma or poetic justice or whatever. But the more I dig into Elon, the more convinced I become that Elon's razor is in fact a central part of his worldview's logic, whether he realizes it or not. See, according to Elon, if we're living in a simulation, base reality is probably really boring.
These simulations, you believe, are created? Like someone has manufactured?
They're running on a substrate.
So...
that substrate is probably boring.
Boring?
Mm-hmm. Well, when we create a simulation, like a game or a movie, it's a distillation of what's interesting about life. Let me tell you, if you see an action movie being filmed, it's boring. Super boring.
His comparison to video games and movies is telling. According to Elon, the simulation is not primarily for science or research or the betterment of humanity or whatever. It's for entertainment.
Because why would you make a simulation that's boring? You'd make a simulation way more interesting than base reality.
And following the logic of simulation theory that most conscious beings are probably simulated, it also follows that most realities are probably entertaining as hell. The extremely dull base reality created countless entertaining realities, which themselves created countless even more entertaining realities, cascading out into a vast multiverse of simulated entertainment. The most entertaining outcome is most likely because we're living in a virtual entertainment machine. It's like the fucking TikTok algorithm. Why did God create the universe? It's content. French philosopher Guy Debord famously wrote about the world's apparent tendency towards spectacle in his 1967 book, The Society of the Spectacle, which opens, "In societies where modern conditions of production prevail, all of life is presented as an immense accumulation of spectacles. Everything that was directly lived has receded into representation." Debord was writing in the 1960s, reacting largely to the increased prominence of technologies like TV and cars, but as many have observed, his descriptions feel even more resonant today with the rise of the internet, the ubiquitous mass proliferation of posts and images. There are countless spectacles vying for our attention at any moment, from the curated lives of influencers to politicians ratioing each other on Twitter. For Debord, this isn't because we're in a computer simulation, it's the consequence of capitalism's relentless commodification of life. These spectacles are producing ad revenue for the platforms that host them. They're creating lifestyle identities that can be marketed to. They're helping build people's personal brands. The spectacle is the stage at which the commodity has succeeded in totally colonizing social life. Commodification is not only visible, we no longer see anything else. The world we see is the world of the commodity. The world has become a fragmented collection of content to be consumed and products to be desired. And in the process, society has come to prioritize appearances. Like, you might think that the basic point of a Tesla is to transport people between locations. No. Debord writes that the consumer obsession with cars is largely about the image of the car. It's about the car's symbolic value, the feelings of coolness and freedom it represents, the promise that it will fill a deep emptiness within you. A mistake made by all city planners is to consider the private automobile as essentially a means of transportation. In reality, it is the most notable material symbol of the notion of happiness that developed capitalism tends to spread throughout society. The automobile is at the center of this general propaganda, both as supreme good of an alienated life and as a central product of the capitalist market. Elon has basically said this himself about Teslas.
It's not exactly a car. It's actually a thing to maximize enjoyment.
I mean, the thing has a fucking programmed-in dance routine.
Why would you program that into a car?
Seemed like fun.
And I mean, look, if Elon thinks he's in a simulation created for entertainment, it makes sense he'd be focused on fun, right? He needs to be entertaining. The economist Robin Hanson, best known on the internet for some weird incel shit, has a long-standing interest in simulation theory. He agrees with Elon that many and likely most simulations would be created for entertainment, and because of this, he argues that you should try to be entertaining so that the simulation won't be terminated. If our descendants prefer their simulations to be entertaining, all else equal, then you should want you and the events around you to be entertaining as well. All else equal. All the world's a stage, and the people merely players. Of course, what is regarded as entertaining does vary somewhat across time and cultures, so one should emphasize widely shared features of entertaining stories. Be funny, outrageous, violent, sexy, strange, pathetic, heroic. In a word, dramatic. Just to reiterate, this is a paper by an economist? Not your high school theater teacher? Elon has clearly taken this to heart. He goes all out to be entertaining. You've seen the headlines, right? Elon Musk sells 20,000 flamethrowers to raise money to dig holes. Elon Musk accuses Thai cave rescuer of being a pedophile. Elon Musk is dating more talented than him pop musician Grimes. Elon and Grimes named their child... Elon Musk challenges Vladimir Putin to a duel. Elon Musk conducts hostile takeover of Twitter. He produces a constant stream of publicity stunts, outlandish claims, stupid tweets, and controversies to never lose attention for too long. That's what he needs to do to keep our simulators entertained. That's what he does so they won't shut us off. He's a hero, saving our reality with the power of shitposts. He's like a real-life Iron Man. Elon's tweets are not just pure spectacle detached from material reality. They are part of his effort at building reality. Investors buy into his celebrity brand as an irreverent, outrageous, spectacular genius. In Silicon Valley's image-obsessed model of disruption, spectacle drives investment. And his tweets move markets. His April Fool's Day joke about Tesla going bankrupt leads Tesla stock to plummet. His tweets about GameStop push GameStop stock sky high. Elon isn't just a passive observer of Elon's razor, he is an active participant. If the most entertaining outcome is most likely, he shapes outcomes by making them entertaining. Thinking of quitting my jobs and becoming an influencer full-time, what do you think? Turning back to economist Robin Hanson, his paper, How to Live in a Simulation, provides plenty more advice on how simulation theory should affect a rational actor's decision-making. If you might be living in a simulation, then all else equal, you should care less about others, live more for today, make your world look more likely to become rich, expect to and try more to participate in pivotal events, be more entertaining and praiseworthy, and keep the famous people around you happier and more interested in you. This advice just sounds like advice for power-hungry capitalists, right? Be selfish, get rich, hang out with celebrities. The most clearly disturbing part of this is the suggestion that you should care less about others. The reason, of course, being that other people might just not be real. De Boer's discussion of the society of the spectacle focuses on our alienation from each other. Spectacle mediates social relationships. We see others filtered through social media archetypes, or through the products they own, or the content they consume. We see others not as they are, but through appearances. Simulation theory takes this to a horrifyingly literal place. Maybe other people are just appearances. Maybe they're non-player characters programmed for you.
A NPC is a non-player character that you will normally see in a video game. They're usually the people that aren't controlled by the player of the video game. They are the characters that were kind of programmed in there.
In a Vanity Fair profile of Grimes, she brought up one way that simulation theory entered her 3-year relationship with Elon. We keep having this conversation where he's like, are you real? Or are we living in my memory and you're like a synthesized companion that was created to be my companion here? The degree to which I feel engineered to have been this like perfect companion is crazy. That sounds bad, right? That sounds very literally dehumanizing. I don't want to extrapolate too much from what might just be the inside jokes of a celebrity couple, but I think this kind of attitude is indicative of how Elon publicly approaches the world. I can understand how he would think he's at the center of a simulation. He is an interesting and important person, and that is made clear to him constantly. People show up at his house with cameras. A teenager on Twitter tracks the movements of his private jet. YouTubers make videos with cardboard cutouts of him. If he feels like the center of reality, it's because he's treated as such, and he certainly acts like he's in a video game. He is the savior of the world, expanding humanity into space, and it doesn't matter who gets hurt in the process because other people just aren't as real as him. His Tesla workers, who he made go into work against COVID lockdown orders, who he tries to keep from unionizing, who speak out about sexual harassment and racial discrimination in the workplace, they're all just NPCs helping him level up. Clearly, Elon is not especially relatable. He is the wealthiest person in the world, but it isn't just Elon converting his life into branding and entertainment. The spectacle invites participation from us all. We are all invited to perform our lives for each other. DeBoer writes that for capitalism to continue to propagate itself, it needs to constantly develop more and more shit that we don't actually need. So it convinces us we need it. Replacing economic necessity with the necessity for boundless economic development can only mean replacing the satisfaction of primary human needs, now scarcely met, with an incessant fabrication of pseudo-needs, all of which ultimately come down to the single pseudo-need of maintaining the reign of the autonomous economy. The spectacle alienates us from each other, and then it promises us solutions to our unfulfilled social needs, like smartphones, or Twitter, or YouTube. The need for authentic connection is replaced by a need to get engagement on our YouTube videos. Please like and subscribe. What if I told you that the next layer of the simulation is already being built? On October 28th, 2021, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg announced that Facebook was rebranding as Meta.
From now on, we're going to be Metaverse first.
The change was presented to the public as being about virtual reality headsets, but my inside sources into teen I saw on TikTok have revealed that Meta's long-term plan is to upload all of our minds to the Metaverse. Our physical bodies will be incinerated and used to fuel the digital future. So I came out to the Meta campus to investigate, and I'm excited to share that I got an exclusive interview with the man in charge. Mr. Zuckerberg, thank you so much for talking with me.
My name's not Mr. Zuckerberg.
He speaks through many avatars. I'm here with Mark Zuckerberg.
Hello.
And another Mark Zuckerberg.
Hello. Yeah.
How did it feel to found Facebook?
Honestly, pretty great, but I don't like what it's become.
Will you be uploading your mind to the Metaverse?
I hope so.
I already have.
Probably not. It's pretty nice out here. Sunny.
I don't understand why you would want to join an alternate universe when you have a perfectly real one.
I see it as the world is going to self-destruct anyways.
Like, the only reason I could see anyone making that is to have absolute control.
Will participation in the mind upload process be made compulsory?
Yes.
Do you plan to be the one remaining human?
Yes.
Metaverse is not where it's at. Multiverse. That's what's next.
Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so have you seen Iron Man?
The social media that we have right now already creates like virtual universes and virtual perceptions of what people think their life and others' lives look like. I feel like everyone has like a real persona and a social media persona, and I think it can be like pretty like traumatic when people come to realize that the persona that they've built online doesn't actually exist. But the more and more they invest in that, the more it's difficult to separate yourself.
Supposedly, the next step in humanity's path towards our simulated future is the Metaverse, the disruptive new tech buzzword being used to describe innovations aimed at creating fully immersive virtual environments.
Imagine you put on your glasses or headset and you're instantly in your home space. It has parts of your physical home recreated virtually, it has things that are only possible virtually, and it has an incredibly inspiring view of whatever you find most beautiful.
Elon says the strongest evidence for simulation theory is seeing how quickly our technologies have already developed, and watching Mark Zuckerberg's Metaverse announcement video, I think the strongest evidence is watching Zuckerberg talk. The man's gotta be a sim.
I always really wanted a forest in my living room.
Did you?
Not really.
Zuckerberg frames the promise of the metaverse by contrasting it with the internet in its current form.
Screens just can't convey the full range of human expression and connection. They can't deliver that deep feeling of presence. But the next version of the internet can.
Facebook promised connection but left us more disconnected than ever. So to achieve true, authentic connection, we need a newer, more immersive Facebook. Zuckerberg helped craft our social disconnection. Now he's gonna sell us a cure.
Your devices won't be the focal point of your attention anymore. Instead of getting in the way, they're going to give you a sense of presence in the new experiences that you're having and the people who you're with.
The solution to your fragmented attention is to get rid of distractions. Those distractions being everything outside of your devices. Pretty soon, instead of hanging out with friends in person, you'll be able to attach a screen to your face and interact with them as legless cartoon avatars as your obsolete physical body bumps into walls trying to walk around. According to Zuckerberg, we'll soon be using virtual reality in every aspect of our day-to-day lives. It'll be a place for entertainment, work, fitness. You can do anything in the metaverse other than smell and touch and taste. Though while you may not be able to actually taste anything, the crypto bros in my Twitter DMs trying to get me to promo their exciting new NFT projects have made it clear to me that you will at least be able to get ugly cartoon food for hundreds of dollars worth of Ethereum. Look, honestly, I like VR. I haven't used it that much, but I've played some Beat Saber at a friend's house, you know, it's cool, I like it. Does it give me a headache after a while? Yes. Do I want to spend a large portion of my life with a screen right up in my face? No. Do I want to go to a 9-to-5 job in virtual reality? Not especially. Among people unenthused about the metaverse, I've seen two primary reactions that seem contradictory but are often held simultaneously. The first reaction is that the whole thing is silly. Zuckerberg is an out-of-touch billionaire, the metaverse is a waste of time, and there's no way it'll take off because nobody actually wants this. The second reaction is that this is some terrifying Black Mirror shit, humanity is doomed, and simulation dystopia is inevitable. Somehow the metaverse is going to bring about the end times, even though nobody's actually gonna use it. I think this sense of inevitability arises because the fears that the metaverse represents are already here. It feels plausible that we'd all submit to this technology no one actually wants, when we're already spending hours each day on our phones despite not actually wanting to. The metaverse is our tech overlords' way to distract and sedate us so they can continue to profit as the world burns. Sounds like Twitter. The metaverse will suck people in so they never want to leave. Can you imagine sitting on the toilet without looking at your phone? Can you imagine the absolute boredom, the soul-crushing monotony? The basic idea of the metaverse is that virtual reality will become so immersive that there will no longer be a neat separation between virtual and real-world experiences, and that's happened already. We don't need VR for that. Look, I'm a YouTuber. I get that I am perhaps more online than most. My side hustle right now, though, is dog walking. It seems like a clearly embodied activity. I walk outside in the physical world with a real living animal made of organic matter. But I walk dogs through an app that markets itself as the Uber for dog walking. The dogs have curated profiles with cute pictures and little bios like it's a dating app. The route of each walk is tracked by GPS on a digital map. I put little stickers on the map where the dogs poop and pee. I get badges for accomplishments like how many poops I've picked up. My dog walking is a mobile game. It's like some Pokemon Go shit. And generally the owners aren't home when I pick up their dogs. I never actually meet them. So basically what happens is I request a walk based on a virtual representation of a dog. The dog owner approves a virtual representation of me to walk their dog. I walk the dog and send a virtual representation of the owner a virtual representation of our walk, including virtual representations of the dog's poops and pees, and then the owner sends a virtual representation of me a tip. And the thing is, this all feels totally normal, but the dog owner and I are never really real to each other. We are virtual representations of ourselves mediated by the parameters of the app, the kinds of input it asks for, and the modes of communication it allows. And I mean, I want to be clear, representation is not inherently bad or something. I'm actually personally pro diagrams. I'm pro maps. If someone shows me a picture of their boyfriend that they keep in their wallet, I'm not gonna get mad about the fact that it's literally not their boyfriend. But these kinds of experiences of our lives mediated through representation are the basis of many metaverse dystopia scenarios. The metaverse is technological feudalism. Zuckerberg is building a world that he will own. Meta will own the virtual land on which we live, work, socialize. Again, they don't need the metaverse for that. Like, the primary way I communicate with most of my friends is through Facebook Messenger. With my family, it's WhatsApp, also owned by Meta. My leisure time is spent scrolling through Facebook or Twitter or watching videos on YouTube owned by Google. I get breaking news from Twitter. I read mind-numbing political discourse on Twitter. I call my parents through FaceTime owned by Apple. I watch product reviews on YouTube. I look at restaurant reviews on Google Maps. I buy used furniture through Facebook Marketplace. I post my videos to YouTube. I get ad revenue through Google AdSense. So much of my daily activity is mediated by Meta, Google, Twitter, and Apple. Increasing domains of our lives are lived, at least in part, through a small number of digital platforms based around profit. These companies want us living as much of our lives on them as possible. Their algorithms are tailored towards capturing our attention. They continually expand into new domains. You can look for love on Facebook Dating, get a smart home so your lighting and heating and fridge will be managed by Google, Apple, or Amazon. The metaverse is the next step in platforms making themselves into the mediators of everything we do. But they're doing it already. Okay, one more metaverse dystopia. The metaverse will completely untether us from reality. In the 1981 book Simulacra and Simulation, maybe best known for being used as a prop in the Matrix movies, French philosopher Jean Baudrillard argues that society has replaced reality with representation. Wait, wasn't another French philosopher just saying this shit?
Deja vu is usually a glitch in the Matrix.
Baudrillard uses the fable of Borges' map as an analogy. Imagine that an empire creates a map so detailed that it's as big as the empire itself. Then imagine that the empire crumbles, and all that's left is the map. And then imagine that they just keep expanding the map even though there's no empire left to represent. Sounds like the metaverse, but Baudrillard says that's already the world we're living in today. In the 1980s. A world of representation that no longer represents any reality. He uses the example of Disneyland. Disneyland supposedly exists to represent a variety of settings. Main Street, USA represents a typical American Midwestern town. Adventureland represents a tropical jungle. Fantasyland represents the fairy tales of youth. But nobody goes to Disneyland to feel like they're authentically in the Midwest, or in a jungle, or in King Arthur's courtyard. You go to Disneyland to feel like you're at Disneyland, complete with artificial environments, gimmicky gadgets, and noisy, sweaty crowds. Disneyland is purely a representation of Disneyland. It creates its own reality. For Baudrillard, this isn't contained to the fantasy worlds of Disneyland. He argues this is how all of the contemporary world operates, through representations that create reality. Live events are staged with the primary purpose of televising them. We have blue raspberry ices even though there are no blue raspberries. Restaurants advertise themselves as Instagrammable. On social media, we ostensibly aim to represent our real lives, but we create staged and curated images. And everyone's in on it. If this was subtle when Baudrillard was writing about it in the 1980s, now we're upfront about it. Now we've got Dogecoin, a meme with no material value, but because Elon imbued it with symbolic value, you can use it to buy movie tickets at AMC. The metaverse isn't such a fundamental shift. We're plenty untethered from reality already. Look, the anxieties that the metaverse represents aren't new. Baudrillard was writing about some of them in the 80s, De Boer was writing about some of them in the 60s, and these metaverse dystopias are here now. We are already spending large portions of our lives in virtual settings, and tech companies are already the mediators of much of it. In some ways, VR almost seems like a step back from our current level of virtuality. It's contained. There are clear boundaries to the experience. You're not gonna have your headset on all the time. You would get a headache. At the very least, you've got to take it off to eat and pee. VR isn't something you can glance at constantly throughout the day. It isn't something that can seep into every aspect of your life. It's contained. This is also basically Elon Musk's take on the metaverse, by the way.
When I grew up, it was like, don't sit too close to TV, it's gonna ruin your eyesight.
Right.
And now I got like TV is like literally right here. I'm like, what? Is that good for you?
The worst person you know just made a great point. Some people have suggested that augmented reality glasses might be more likely to take off. Elon, on the other hand, is focused on Neuralink, his brain implant company with a long-term goal of full integration between humans and machines.
Best case scenario, we effectively merge with AI.
But regardless of which billionaire's tech dystopia wins out, the simulation is here. Welcome to the future. It's not just tech elites or ivory tower academics who believe in simulation theory. Simulation theory adherents also include many ordinary, everyday TikTokers.
We're living in a simulation right now, and I can prove it.
The adoption of simulation theory by TikTokers has a curious tendency to combine the ostensibly rationalist framework of Nick Bostrom and Elon Musk with a heavy dose of new age spiritualism.
None of it is real. It's all being generated. It's all a spiritual game, and your body is the controller. Don't forget, your energy is interdimensional, and it chose to incarnate into this reality.
Let me sum up in under a minute what I think reality is. Heaven and earth are indeed a simulation, spoken into existence by our creator.
Yeah, there's also a surprising amount of old age spiritualism, simulation Christianity. And you can of course find some simulation astrology.
Your birth chart needs to get beat like a level in a video game.
I find simulation theory TikTok endearing in a way that simulation theory tech billionaires could never be. For TikTokers, the theory isn't based in a dystopian vision of the future, it's a way to inject magic and mysticism into a world dominated by the products of technological innovation. That's how lay people often engage with the theory, not as a conclusion reached through pure logic and reason, but as mystical. Like one guy in the simulation theory documentary says his path to the theory included having a spiritual experience in a sensory deprivation tank.
I kind of in that state had come out and said, listen, I get the sense that you're trying to tell me something. I'm not sure I even knew who the you was I was talking to. I don't know if it was the universe or, there's a God part of it for me.
Simulation theory's most prominent moment on TikTok was glitch talk, a trend that took off in the early days of the pandemic in which people shared their own perceived glitches in the Matrix. These glitches took various forms. Supposedly the proof that we're in a simulation includes everything from misplaced utensils.
This person, I've been missing forks, literally same thing's happening at my place. What? Same, all my forks are gone. We have one fork left, question mark. I've been missing knives. I'm not joking, in the last 3 weeks we lost cups. This isn't funny anymore. I'm freaking out.
To forgetting how brand names are spelled.
Many people remember the Kit Kat having a dash in the middle of it. What the Kit Kat bar never had a dash.
To the fact that you've never seen a baby pigeon?
Have you ever seen a baby pigeon? And more importantly, are we living in a simulation?
To a basic lack of scientific knowledge. You know what really messes your head up? If the sun truly is up in space, why is there light on Earth, but not in space? Can someone get Hank Green on this one? These glitches reconfigure how we look at our everyday lives. Mundane experiences become reinterpreted as glimpses at some deeper spiritual truth. To me, hearing tech billionaires like Elon talk about simulation theory, it suggests a lack of control. To accept it is to accept that we're living in a world that is built not for us, but for our simulator overlords.
It'd be hilarious if Elon Musk was a player character.
But to people on TikTok, it's weirdly empowering.
If it's a game, then maybe we can unlock the next level, guys.
And I mean, I do get that there can be a sense of empowerment in the kinds of simulated worlds we participate in currently. Like on TikTok, you can choose how to represent yourself. You can be who you want to be. You can craft an alternate reality for yourself to live in. The gamers in the simulation theory documentary have that same kind of freeing experience playing video games. They have the freedom to be whatever these avatars are, I guess. Virtual realities seem to offer worlds of possibility. Simulation theory is often discussed alongside the law of attraction, the idea that having good vibes can help you manifest good things into your life.
You, as a part of the simulation, are coding the simulation through your yeses and your nos.
This basically follows the emotional logic of Neo in the Matrix. Because the Matrix is all just code, Neo can bend it to his will. He can dodge bullets, fly, run super fast. And because you're in a simulation, you can recode your future through the power of positive thinking. Elon manifests the value of Dogecoin, you can manifest being able to pay your rent. I understand the comforting optimism of this kind of thinking, but most of us aren't Elon Musk. We can't reshape reality through our tweets. As much as our lives are dominated by symbolism and constructed realities, the world of representations is not controlled equally. Our freedom on TikTok is bound by the whims of the platform and the algorithm. Our freedom in video games is bound by mechanics. Our freedom in our lives is bound by contemporary capitalism. The dark side of the law of attraction is that it implies that people who aren't successful or are struggling are just thinking too negatively. Their bad vibes are manifesting bad things. And I think this is where the empowering reading of simulation theory fails. It is hyper-individualistic. It's hard to build community or solidarity if all you can trust is your own perception. The glitches of Glitch Talk are mostly lighthearted fun, but what lies at the core of many of them is a distrust in any shared reality. I've never seen a baby pigeon, so they do not exist. The simulation forgot to generate them. I don't know a scientific fact. That means it cannot possibly be explained through science. I misremembered the spelling of a brand name, and I'm right. Other people don't have knowledge or experience at all. They're not even conscious. My simulators are saving on computing power by only programming them when I'm looking at them.
Have you ever seen your neighbors bringing in groceries?
So there's a theory that the reason you never see your neighbors bringing groceries is because it is a simulation, and that's not something that appeals to you that you want to see.
The general consensus among simulation theory adherents is that at least some other people are real. Your friends, your family, your favorite content creators, I'm real. So who are the NPCs? Substitute teachers?
Subs are NPCs, prove me wrong.
Or, more commonly suggested, they're the people you pass by on the street but don't really pay attention to. People who are in the background of your life but who you don't interact with deeply. People who speak with a script, like service workers who end each interaction with "have a nice day." Or maybe the NPCs are people who are poor or homeless, who you uncomfortably avoid eye contact with on the street. Or maybe they're people who are too happy, influencers with their perfect curated lives. These all operate on the same refusal to look beyond appearances. We're increasingly accustomed to viewing people in this way. We scroll through the endless TikTok feed and the TikTokers appear to us as nothing more than fleeting entertainment. Why not do that same reduction offline too? The concept of the NPC is an expression of a broader social fragmentation. It's an interaction with others entirely as spectacle. I'm the only conscious being in the universe, and today I've set out to prove it by catching some of the non-player characters off guard. Are you conscious?
I think so.
Can you prove that? I'm just coming out here today because I'm pretty sure only I'm conscious. It's lonely, it's rough out here, so I would like someone else to be conscious.
I don't think I'm your guy, so. but good luck.
So, not conscious?
Not provably conscious.
He's not conscious. Are you conscious?
No.
Do I seem unconscious to you?
You seem like someone who would say they're conscious. I don't think you're conscious.
I'd probably be one of the best programmed individuals then that'd ever be able to walk the earth. All the other robots we make, they can't do like shit like this. Like, oh, caught that. Fucking put it back down, maybe flip it over here. Put my foot back in there, like, whoa.
I just think you're like purely in my perception.
So you're just in my perception too, right?
No.
What if you're fooling yourself that you're conscious?
I'm pretty sure I'm conscious.
If I put this sign here.
I don't think you exist anymore. Do you still exist?
Maybe.
If I stop looking at you, you're gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Turn around, turn around.
The frameworks of consciousness are defined within, like, you know, we're using tools to define things outside of our understanding.
I know you're not conscious.
What about your camera helper?
I'd put it at like 30%.
Why does she get more percent?
I know her, you know.
What's it OS?
This might be a simulation, so you could be totally right.
Right. Right, that's what I think. I think this whole world was created to torture me.
Life's that bad?
It's not that bad, but, you know.
It's great. We're alive. Look at the sun and all this. Like, it could be worse.
I moved to a new city a few months ago. I think it was a few months ago. I haven't really been keeping track of time. It was towards the end of the Delta wave, a bit before Omicron. I'm an hour from Silicon Valley, the heart of the simulation, where they haven't even bothered to program in weather. It's 65 degrees and sunny all year round. I'm doing YouTube and gig work, both solitary activities, and I do not feel grounded in this place. In some ways, it hardly feels like I've actually moved. My life and my work are so structured around my laptop and my phone, and those are the same wherever I go. I walk a dog through Uber for dogs, and the constantly sunny 65-degree environment just feels like set design. The outside world is artificial, the real world is on my phone. In the simulation theory documentary, belief in the theory often stems from a root feeling of unreality. The people featured describe times when the world didn't feel real to them. The people around them didn't feel real. Their own bodies didn't feel real.
I start thinking about how bodies move and how weird it is that they move that way. And just the absurdity of the situation keeps on going around in my head. And I'm like, oh, none of this is real.
And I understand those feelings. I have felt that basic sense of unreality at various points throughout my life. The truth is, I have a long history with simulation theory. In middle school, I developed a fascination with skeptical hypotheses, these hypothetical scenarios positing that the world is not what it seems. You're a brain in a vat being fed sensory signals, or the world was actually created last Thursday. This included simulation theory, and unfortunately, I've been making videos since I was 11, and I have the receipts. I did a fucking poem about it.
I could be a computer simulation, the product of someone's experimentation. I don't know if this is really happening, or if my life is just some strange, warped thing.
I will not be showing you more of that. I was at the age when you start realizing that the world doesn't revolve around you, and these skeptical hypotheses let me be like, okay, but maybe it does though? I remember once in middle school, I was talking about these kinds of theories with a friend on the school bus. We were saying, maybe we're just Sims, you know? We're just programming. We don't have free will. And then I slapped him in the face. I can't help it. It's my programming. I didn't want to have to make this video. Evan, if you're watching, I'm so sorry if you felt slapped by me. Since middle school, I've accepted that the best option for the well-being of myself and the people in my life is to believe in the world as I experience it. And I do. I believe very strongly that reality is real. But as much as I believe it, sometimes it doesn't feel that way. The times that those feelings of unreality have crept in have been the times in my life when I felt most alone, when I felt isolated or hopeless, when I've lost friends or feared that I would, and I feel like I'm not a participant in the world. Like there's a separation between me and physical reality, and I am watching the outside world through a filter. Even my own body, my movements, my breath, my sweat feel detached, like I'm a passive observer viewing my life from the outside. Is this evidence that I'm in a simulation? No, I'm dissociating. Dissociation describes a range of mental phenomena generally grouped into derealization, a disconnection from the outside world, and depersonalization, dissociation, a disconnection from yourself. My experience of dissociation is less The Matrix and more The Truman Show, in which Truman, played by Jim Carrey, realizes that his entire life has been a reality TV show and every other person is an actor. In those moments, I feel like I'm in a show and I'm the only person in the world who's not in on it. I'm sick of these fucking YouTubers with main character syndrome. I'm the star of a show. No, you have a YouTube channel. This feeling isolates me further. The people in my life, the people who could help, start feeling like fictional characters, or worse, like actors judging me and entertained by my suffering. These feelings are not evidence that I'm actually in my own personal Truman Show. They're not evidence that I'm in a simulation. They're evidence of my feelings of alienation. Of course, not everyone who amuses themselves with philosophical thought experiments is in the midst of a mental health episode, but I think the texture of these dissociative feelings has a particular resonance in our current world. Both of those two pop culture classics, The Matrix and The Truman Show, explore hypermediation through computers or screens, while simultaneously illustrating dissociative feelings of unreality. There are parallels between the experiences. Derealization, a disconnection from the outside world, is a similar process to your phone's reduction of the world to images. Depersonalization, a disconnection from yourself, is the same thing you do when you perform an identity online in a disembodied virtual space. These dissociative processes are increasingly embedded in the structure of our everyday lives. Experiences of dissociation or unreality are intimately personal, but they also occur in a broader social context. The isolation of the pandemic, the anxieties of a precarious economy, fears about climate, war, or political unrest. And when I feel a disorienting sense of unreality, I pull out my phone, because at least that feels pretty much the same. Imagine that someday in the future, frogs reach a stage at which they're able to magically implant other frogs with a false belief that they're actually human beings. Presumably by then, the frog population will have skyrocketed and they'll be doing this left and right. There will be hundreds of trillions of frogs afflicted with the human delusion. At that point, the vast majority of conscious beings to have ever believed themselves human will be frogs. That means you're almost certainly a frog. Now I know what you're thinking. There's no evidence that magic frogs will ever do such a thing. Well, not in our reality, because the magic frogs designed a reality where there are no magic frogs yet. Any objections to this rock-solid logic have been programmed into you by the frogs. Ribbit, ribbit, ribbit. You can apply the basic logic of simulation theory to countless nonsense hypotheticals. The fact that this hypothetical in particular is being taken seriously says something about how we imagine our world and how we imagine the future. In order for simulation theory to be convincing, you need to believe that advanced civilizations tend to reach the simulation future. You need to believe that's where we're heading. Elon sees this as in some way optimistic. To him, if we're not in the simulation, it means that advanced civilizations never reach the point of creating them. It means extinction.
Maybe we should be hopeful that this is a simulation, because either we're going to create simulations that are indistinguishable from reality, or civilization will cease to exist. Those are the two options.
It's easier to imagine the end of the world than the failure of the fucking metaverse. Simulation theory takes our alienation and our disconnection, and it says, that's the future. That's the natural endpoint for advanced civilizations. That's where all of this is leading. The universe tends towards dissociation. None of this is inevitable, okay? We are building our world together, and we don't need to build it in the vision of Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. We don't exist for their profit. We don't exist for the entertainment of our simulators. We are not NPCs. Alienation and isolation are not inevitable. A world based around community and compassion is possible. Other people are real, okay? Look, I know I can't definitively say that we're not in a simulation, but at the very least, please just try to believe that other people are real.
Thanks for watching. This video was an ordeal. for me. If you enjoyed this and want to help me keep making videos, you can support me on Patreon. For $1 a month, you can get access to patron-only live streams, behind-the-scenes posts. You can see my videos a few days early. Also, you should watch another video of mine and like and comment and subscribe, etc.